Hi everyone, and welcome to this video for parents and carers. This video has been created by the online safety charity, ChildNet, in partnership with the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland, and is designed to tell you everything you need to know about key online safety issue. Today we are talking about online grooming, where somebody befriends a child online with the intention to exploit them and cause them harm. This video will include information on how grooming occurs, the law around grooming, how to talk to and protect your children, and also where you can find support. We will also talk about a form of blackmail called online sexual extortion, which is often referred to as sextortion. So let's start off by thinking about how grooming can happen. For many adults, when they think of grooming, they may think of a scenario where an adult contacts a child and befriends them with the intention of meeting up with them in person. Now, this is one example of grooming, but it is important to note that it can happen in other ways and that the intention is not always to meet up in person. For example, someone may befriend a child and convince them to send photos or videos of themselves online. Alternatively, they may reach out to a child who is live streaming, which is sharing a live video of themselves, and through complimenting and rewarding the child, convince them to undress or participate in adult behaviours during the live stream. We do also know that grooming can all be about radicalising a child, convincing them of extreme or harmful beliefs, such as extreme religious or political beliefs. Grooming may also be financially motivated, with the groomer seeking to obtain personal or financial information from a child or that child's family members. Another term you may have heard before in relation to this topic is catfishing. Catfishing is where a person uses a fake identity to pretend to be somebody that they're not. They may pretend to be a different age or gender, perhaps choosing what they think will most appeal to their victim, and may also be untruthful about their appearance and their interests. Catfishing is used to initiate friendships and relationships and can be used as a grooming technique to gain the trust of a young person. But this isn't always why it happens. Both children and adults can potentially be victims of catfishing, and it can sometimes be a way to seek revenge or to bully another person. But it could also be because somebody feels more comfortable using a different identity, perhaps due to low self-esteem. It is important to remember that groomers do not always catfish their victims, and they can use other methods to gain the trust of a young person. In fact, groomers use a variety of techniques and are unfortunately very skilled at what they do. They may give lots of compliments or send gifts to make a child feel special, or they may also seek to manipulate, blackmail, and control the child, potentially isolating them from friends and family. There is no one way that a young person may experience being groomed, and it can happen in a range of places online. For example, it can occur through online gaming chats, messaging apps, and social media. Any child can be at risk of being groomed, regardless of their age, gender, race, or location. It is important to be aware that children with special educational needs and disabilities can be more at risk, and they may find it difficult to know how to get support. Any sexual communication with a child is an offence and should be reported, regardless of whether it is believed to be grooming or not. It is likely that the intended outcome of grooming is an illegal act, such as child sexual abuse, extremism, or blackmail. However, during the early stages, or depending on the method of grooming and the content of the messages, the process itself may not actually break the law because the intent is not immediately clear. If you do have concerns about an online relationship your child is participating in and suspect that it could be grooming, it is important to report it, even if you are unsure whether it has broken the law or not. Groomers will often target more than one young person at a time, and reporting can help law enforcement authorities identify the bigger picture or a pattern of behaviour. We also know that being the victim of grooming can impact a child's mental health and emotional well-being, as well as affecting their existing friendships and relationships. So reporting can help you and your family access much needed support and guidance. We'll let you know how you can report suspected grooming later in the video. One trend to be aware of that is linked to grooming is online sexual extortion, sometimes referred to as sextortion. Sextortion is a form of blackmail where somebody is forced into doing something that they do not want to do, such as sending money, images, or information, because someone is threatening to share nude images and videos of them. Sextortion can target both adults and young people, and the images used to blackmail someone as part of a sextortion attempt may be taken in a number of ways. For example, the blackmailer may have hacked someone's online accounts and stolen images they have saved there, or they may have edited or manipulated photos from social media to make them appear nude. However, often the blackmailer will start the process of sextortion by befriending their victim online, establishing a relationship, and then encouraging them to share nude images, perhaps by initiating it and sending one of their own. In this way, you can see how the process of sextortion can also be a form of grooming. And it is important to remember that what we've described here is a form of child sexual abuse. Most importantly for you to know, sextortion is a crime. If you or anyone you know, including a child, is a victim of sextortion, it is vital to report the incident to the police. You can do this by calling them on 101 or by reporting it via the police service of Northern Ireland website online. As well as reporting to the police, you can report sextortion attempts and any nude images that are shared online via the platform where they have been posted. If you're not sure how to report on a particular platform, you can always visit reportharmfulcontent.com or search the name of the platform and then the word report online. There are also specialist reporting services created to help with the removal of nude images of under 18-year-olds. One of these is Childline's Report Remove tool. The tool is set up for children to use themselves, but you can help your child with the process. Once an image has been reported using Report Remove, the team will work to remove the image where it's been hosted online and may even also be able to prevent it from being uploaded elsewhere in the future. Part of the work we do at ChildNet is going out and working with parents and carers across the country. And we know that grooming is one of the biggest concerns for many families. The important thing to remember is that there are lots of things you can do to help protect any child in your care from the risk of grooming, and they all start with open and honest conversations at home. Talking about life online is a great way to show interest, but also build trust and honesty, and increase the likelihood of you hearing about any issues your child is having online. It is also an opportunity to find out what apps, games, and websites your child likes to use. Knowing what these are means you can find out more about how to support your child to use them safely. Organisations like Internet Matters, Common Sense Media, and the Family Gaming Database all offer detailed advice and guidance on different online services, including settings and controls you can use. Setting up such controls on your child's devices is also a really practical way to help prevent access to harmful content and to limit potentially harmful contact, like grooming. The SBNI Online Safety Hub is a really good place to start for advice on this, and it does signpost to Internet Matters, which gives clear step-by-step instructions on how to set up parental controls and privacy settings on a range of apps, games, and websites, or through your internet provider. Of course, settings and controls are never a perfect solution and will work best alongside clear expectations about your child's internet usage, supervision, or monitoring of their time online, especially for younger children, and continued open conversation about online experiences. Talk specifically about any positives and negatives of using the internet to communicate. For example, that it is quick and convenient, but that it can also be hard to gauge exactly what someone means, and that not everyone is who they say they are. Make sure your conversations also cover practical safety tips, like ensuring that your child has any online account set to private, to prevent people they do not know from being able to see the content they are posting, and reiterating the importance of telling a trusted adult if an online friend asks for personal information to meet up or for photos and videos of them. For younger children, it is important to talk openly and supportively about online communication, including helping them to understand what is meant by a friend. They should be aware of the difference between talking to somebody they know such as a classmate or a family member, compared to somebody that they do not know. You may find it useful to draw comparisons between offline interactions with someone they don't know and online interactions with someone they don't know. For example, if somebody approached you on the street and they wanted to be your friend or take your photo, what would you say? Make it clear that an online contact may not always be who they say they are. Stories like DigiDuck's famous friend, which is available for free on the ChildNet website, can help them grasp this concept in a non-scary way. As your child gets older, it may be more common for them to communicate with people who they do not know offline. For example, this is actually a popular part of online gaming. If they are speaking with people they do not know, encourage them to keep their conversations respectful and relevant. For example, if they are playing a game together, the conversation should be discussing the game, not their personal lives. Talk to your child about personal information and how it could allow someone to work out who they are or where they can be found, explaining that this should stay private and should not be shared with online friends, even if they ask for it. Personal information also includes pictures of themselves, contact information, and information about friends and family. If you become aware that your child has been talking to people online, for example, you could hear them talking via a headset or they reference an online friend, make sure to stay calm and ask questions. These can help establish who they are speaking to, the discussions they are having, and how they are feeling about it. If they are reserved or secretive about them, this could be a sign that something isn't right and an indicator that you need to dig a little bit deeper. This can be difficult, as a child may see this as an invasion of privacy, or it may make them even more reluctant to share. Let them know that they are not in trouble and take a break from the conversation if needed. Explain that you only want to keep them safe and that you're there to help them, whatever the situation might be. Whilst there is no one way that a child may experience grooming, there are common warning signs that a person online can't be trusted. Sharing these with your child and helping them to recognize how an unhealthy online relationship might make them feel will give them these skills to recognize potential grooming. Examples you might want to discuss include somebody trying to move a conversation to a different platform, for example, from a public game to a private messaging app, somebody asking them to do something that makes them feel uncomfortable or unsure, or asking them for lots of personal details. There are also signs you can look for, which might indicate that something isn't right online, such as your child complaining more regularly about stomach aches or feeling sick, because these could be signs of anxiety. In some cases, children may also start using more sexualized language or dressing provocatively because of an abusive relationship with a groomer. One final thing to consider is that as adults, there are specific apps and services designed to allow us to establish relationships with people online, such as dating apps. For older teenagers or those approaching adulthood, it can seem confusing and unfair that meeting up with online friends is allowed and even encouraged, but only past a certain age. Some young people may express a desire to meet with an online friend, and in some circumstances, for example, where you trust this to be another young person, or to prevent them from meeting in secret, this may actually be something that you allow. In these cases, ensure that you have as much information as possible about the person your child wants to meet, such as their username and their profile picture, and take screenshots of their profile too. You may also decide to contact the parents and carers of the young person they are meeting to make sure they are happy with the arrangement. We would always advise you to accompany your child and remain close by, or arrange another trusted adult to go with them, in which case, make sure they share their location with you and that they meet in a public and busy area during the daytime. If you become aware that your child has been groomed online, it is really important to stay calm, reassuring, and non-judgmental. Don't deny access to devices, as taking away a device may make a child more upset in an already distressing situation, and they may find it more difficult to reach out for help in the future. Explain your concerns about what they're experiencing and listen to their explanation or their own perspectives on the situation. Make sure they know that what has happened is not their fault and try to understand how the situation evolved, including what platforms they're currently using for communications and a rough timeline of what happened. Help your child to cut off all communication with the person who is grooming them by blocking the person on all platforms and devices. Support your child with what they experienced and how it has made them feel. Any online grooming or sexual abuse should also be reported. Make sure to take a screenshot or a photo of the chat and save messages if this is possible, as this will help you provide proof of what has happened. You can report the incident directly on the platform it occurred on. If you're not sure how to report on a particular online platform, you can visit reportharmfulcontent.com or search the name of the platform and the word report online. If you believe a child is in immediate danger, for example, if you find out they're on their way to meet an adult they've met online, then you should phone the emergency services on 999, and in a non-emergency situation, contact the police on 101. You can also seek help from your child's school or college, as they have a responsibility to safeguard their pupils and are well equipped to deal with such incidents. They also have good working relationships with the police and local safeguarding services, and therefore can access advice and support if needed. Any incidents involving grooming that are reported to school or college should be escalated to their designated teacher for child protection or their lead safeguarding officer. As a parent, you may wish to speak to them directly and can find their details on their website or by contacting the school or college office. And you can also report your concerns to your child's school. If you're unable to get support from local services, you can also report via the National Crime Agency through CEOP. This stands for the Child Exploitation Online Protection Command, and their remit is grooming, specifically online child sexual abuse. You can report to CEOP at ceop.police.uk. Hearing about grooming or child sexual abuse in the news can feel scary, and for many parents, we know it's one of their biggest concerns. However, we can support children and young people to recognise unhealthy and abusive relationships, both online and offline, to help protect them from people who might try and manipulate them in this way. For a child who is experiencing an abusive relationship online, it can be difficult and upsetting to seek help, and your response is going to shape how they remember this incident and recover from it. The best way to support your child is to be there for them, offering reassurance and support, talking to them about it when they want to, and helping them process their own feelings about what has happened. You can also make a difference by talking to your child from an early age about their online experiences and encouraging safe and responsible sharing that is private and only accessible by people they know offline. The more you talk about your child's life online, the more likely it is you'll be able to spot if they're talking to someone online and any changes in their behaviour. Finally, please also remember that you are not alone and help is available. You can speak to your child's school or college, find further advice on the SBNI Online Safety Hub and ChildNet website, or contacting a parenting or child safeguarding helpline, such as those shown on the screen here.